I'm really desperate right now. It's because personally, I'm gonna admit to you that even though I really look funny or ridiculous, I keep on smiling, I keep on laughing. However, deep inside within me is very hopeless and desperate, very miserable. It's because I am Hey there, all of our listeners. So here's another episode within our program segment for today's show. Welcome to Blare and Flare, expressing who we are and what they are, where we bridge the gap between the classics and today. So we're your hosts, Kelsey, and yours truly, Birchie.
So today in this episode of our podcast is we are diving into Shakespeare's unlimited and timely Sonnet 29, a poem about despair, hope, and the salvific power of love. Joining us now is Errol, a Shakespearean scholar and literature enthusiast. Aside from Errol, we have also guests, right?
Guests,
Actually,
right.
we have 4 guests right now.
Yeah, including the 3.
Oh yeah, they will gonna share their insights or making analysis.
Or even literally read the Sonnet 29.
Yes, and they will gonna making an analysis or will give insight that actually, Perch, I'm not really good at poetry. I don't know.
Even I don't really like literature.
Actually, I'm not really
I'm not into that kind of line. Yeah, that's true.
Actually, I am not really a deep person, so maybe I have a struggle to interpret a poem. But maybe if this guest of ours will gonna share a wonderful insight, maybe I can easily understand the
Provided the fact that you're not really into that kind of like poetry. I like share our insights, yes, because we have personal reasons or personal way to express ourselves, right?
Actually, I like poem because it's really artistic. And how you express yourself. That's good. Poem is like when you express your feelings in a beautiful way, right? But actually, I'm just not really artistic person. Maybe
I don't agree with that.
Maybe I just have an idea, but I don't know how to express it beautifully and creatively. So, but
I wouldn't admit also that I'm very artistic. However, I really love to hear from other people's opinions or even their own reflective realizations on what are those what they understand
the poem,
the content of the poem.
Yeah, definitely. But actually, I love reading literature, especially books. But poem is really kind of struggle for me to understand it. But there's still a poem that was really easily to understand. But however, Shakespeare's sonnet is really
very deep.
It's very deep because
it has an implication or it has a very shall I say connotative meaning.
Maybe because also the barriers in our language, right? Because our language in this modern is really different to the old English of what Shakespeare's used before, right?
Very highfalutin, shall I say.
Yeah, so because we are not really poetic people,
we are not, okay?
So we are asking help from our guests to interpret and will give analysis of the Sonnet 20.
With the help of Errol, Mickey, Michaela, and Kate.
Okay, so today's podcast is you will be hear from these people on making analysis and sharing their insights about the Sonnet 29 of William Shakespeare.
Okay, but knowing the fact that you're not yet acquainted with their, shall I say, their own credentials, Errol is a great scholar of Shakespearean sonnets or literature, not just the sonnets, but of course
even sending letters to
because Shakespeare is also known for his very beautiful dramas or theatrical performances because of his masterpieces, right? And then
also
performed by a lot of artists.
This person who will be guest today is Errol, who is also known to send letters to his
I know that.
I remember that he posted this on Facebook that he
That
wrote
becomes
a
very
poem.
controversial.
Yeah, it's really
Story
controversial.
section.
Yeah, kind of like how he wrote poems.
Yeah, when we're
Yeah.
still students,
So
right?
maybe he can share insight, no, and can give analysis of the
Perhaps.
Sonnet 29.
Probably.
Okay, please welcome Errol. Errol will gonna give his insights and we're gonna share his thoughts about this poem or about this sonnet. Is we will going to read first the sonnet, each line by line.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the first line is okay. Who will be
Reading it.
Okay, me first or you?
May I read it first?
Okay, Perch, we're gonna read the first 3 lines of Shakespeare's Sonnet 29. Okay, go ahead, Perch. I know you can do
I
it.
really want to do it.
Okay.
With full conviction. Yeah. Full confidence.
Okay.
When in disgrace, with fortune men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble doth heaven with my bootless cries.
Wow, that's
That's
so
the
deep.
first
I don't-
I mean, not paragraph, but when it comes to poem, it should be stanza.
But do you really know what does it mean about
Oh,
the
it's so deep. It's so interesting.
Okay, so let's
we need to have a time.
Okay, so let's we call on Errol. Can you share the insight of these first 3 lines, please?
So, hi once
Hey,
again, guys.
Errol.
I'm Errol, and I'm going to analyze the first 3 lines of Shakespeare's masterpiece, the Sonnet 29. So, first, I'm going to read the first 3 lines of his masterpiece. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries. So in line number 1, when in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes. In disgrace with fortune suggests that the speaker feels unlucky, perhaps facing financial hardship or life failures. And men's eyes indicates public shame or rejection. The speaker feels judged and looked down upon by society. So, this line sets up a mood of misfortune and social alienation. So, in line number 2, I all alone beweep my outcast state. So, the speaker is all alone, and he is emphasizing solitude. And beweep means to weep over or mourn, suggesting intense self-pity or sadness. And outcast state confirms his feeling of being rejected or excluded from society. And in line number 3, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries. He troubles heaven with his prayers or cries, but is deaf, unresponsive to his pain. Bootless means futile or pointless, reinforcing his hopelessness. Overall, these lines paint a picture of someone in emotional and social despair, feeling abandoned by both society and God. The tone is dark and heavy, setting a powerful contrast to the later uplifting turn in the poem. And that's it for my analysis. Bye!
Thank you for that, Errol. Wow, that was a great. That was a first.
Very meaningful and purposeful type of
Yeah.
explanations when it comes
I
to
think it
writing
kind of makes sense
such
of what
masterpiece
Errol said.
of
about-
one of a kind, like author
I think-
or bard of Avons.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense of what Errol said about the first 3 lines.
About the Sonnet 29.
I kind of agree with him. Yeah, but what you said.
I guess
really-
Shakespeare. If I'm just going to point out Shakespeare in these lines that I have read a while ago, it means a lot because maybe that's basing from his own personal experience, considering that kind of fact.
Yeah.
If that is really the basis, if that's the basis for coming from the emotion or the experiences coming from Shakespeare himself, then maybe at this time while writing, because as if we're going to write based on our emotions, right? I think Shakespeare is also hopeless at this time.
Oh yeah, maybe. Well, since Shakespeare also known to make dramas or plays, maybe he's just kind of making a characters. No, not this poem is not really about himself. Yeah, so
But in
maybe
behalf of such character, maybe we do have different or multiple, shall I say, multiple perspectives. However,
yeah.
in my case, I
Okay.
really sense it that he is the one.
He's really talking about
yeah,
his experiences.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on for the next three lines of the poem is okay. I will be the one
Yeah.
who will read the next three lines. Okay, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich and hope, featured like him, with friends possessed. And what does it mean?
He wished to have wealth in hope, even though despite the fact that he is experiencing such different problems, that the character being, shall I consider your own point of view, that there's a character being created by Shakespeare, and then that character is very hopeless. But despite that kind of reality, he wanted to grasp up even the little in lightening, like shall I say, the I think the light that is almost dead, or the candle light that's almost little.
Wow,
Yeah, like that, ba?
your analysis is kind of deep.
Very
to
deep,
me.
yeah. But because when we say hope, then there will be a light, right?
Yeah,
Instead
but
of darkness, there should be a candle standing before.
I kinda agree with you, but it's so your explanation is kind of very abstract to me.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's really it's really deep. Wow, you're really a deep thinker person. But yeah, we will allow
Shall we
different
say,
perspectives here. So let's hear it from Selma. How will she analyze or will give her insight of this three lines of the Sonnet 29?
Okay. By the way, Salma is an actress coming from British.
Yeah, she's a Broadway actress.
British Broadway actress. Yeah.
Once again, good day everyone. For the fourth line, I look upon myself, the curse of my fate. Here, the speaker takes long and hard look at his life because he feel disappointments and regret because he's his only misfortune. By his struggle, he feels cursed by fate itself. While the next line, wishing me like one more reach and hope. Here, he began to compare himself with others, specifically someone who still has hope, drive, and promising future. Because it's not material wealth he invades, but the emotional and the spiritual wealth that hopes and give a person. For the sixth line, featured like him with friends possess. Now, the comparison gets personal. He invades someone's physical appearance and someone else's social life. There's a deep sense of loneliness and insecurity here. Why? Because he feels left out, unloved, and unseen. In this line, the speaker expresses deep self-pity and resentment, feeling cursed by fate and disconnected from the world. He invites that others who seem more hopeful, more attractive, more socially accepted, or more talented than he is. Because this moment captured the universal struggle of self-comparison and the ache of feeling not enough. These days, we've lost our sense of patience. We chase quick fixes, self-help tips, shortcuts to boost, to feel better fast. But Shakespeare always reminds us, don't rush. Sit with darkness for a while. Let yourself feel it. It's in the quiet, comfortable waiting that we find something real, because the beauty isn't escaping the dark, but it's in learning how to wait for the light.
Okay, thank you for that, Miss Salma, once again.
Okay, so moving on to the next four lines of the sonnet. Okay, who will be?
Okay, next.
It's you.
Yeah.
Who will be the next one to read this?
It's kind of like I'm selfish, right?
Okay, read it with conviction
Yeah.
and emotion.
Thank you for that very wonderful instruction.
Read this. Okay, read the
Desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy contented least. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's so like in these lines that I have read, it's almost there. The hope is almost there
Yeah.
because even though this, yeah, shall I say, disregarding all the issues being
I think
experienced
in
with the
this
character.
line is the person is really contented
Yeah.
himself or himself in solitude. Yeah, there is a line yet
yeah.
in this thoughts myself.
He's
almost
lonely, right? He's
despising.
lonely at the first.
Happily,
the
I
first
think
four
of thee,
lines.
and then my state, like to the lark at the break of the day arising.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
this person.
A dawn of
is-
hope is arising already.
Yeah, I think this person is self-loathing. I mean, maybe that's just really
He's
my
not
different.
He's not hating himself. Like loath is what you mean with loath, right? Hating, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. I
He's
mean,
not abominating.
I am this really a big difference, but they kind of have very similar meaning. No,
Yeah.
near similarity.
Yeah. Of
Okay,
course.
but let's hear it from Maria Kate how
Yeah, Maria.
how she will give unique
Yeah.
analysis.
Okay, Maria Kate, it's your turn to shine.
Yes,
So,
Maria Kate.
Hi guys! Thanks for having me here. It's really a great honor for me to be part of your show. So my analysis for this line is, so in these lines the speaker feels jealous of other people. He wants their talents, their art, and their opportunities or freedom, scope. So because of this, even the things he used to enjoy no longer make him happy. He feels so slow that he almost starts to hate himself. But then, something changes. He suddenly thinks of someone he loves. Just thinking about the person makes him feel better. It's like a lark or bird rising into the sky at sunrise, singing with joy that happy memories lifts him out of sadness. Absolutely. Imagine how we all cry for validation from our families or peers. Also, think about the bootless cries yelling into the null and void of TikTok or Twitter. We're all screaming for validation, just like Shakespeare's speaker. But here's the twist. The poem's salvation isn't just all about fame or success, it's love. So, by the way, thank you for inviting us today. I hope they have learned something for today's episode. That's all. Bye.
oh, what a wonderful explanation!
Wow, thank you
coming
so
from
much.
you.
Thank you
Coming
so
from
much,
your beautiful Maria
Maria.
Kate.
Okay, so moving on to the last three lines of the sonnet. Okay, so it's your turn to read
My
this one,
turn.
right? Because I did
Yeah,
the
even
last
though
time.
I'm the one who previously read the last line.
Me, I'm the one.
You're the one.
Okay, so yeah, just read it now.
Okay.
Okay,
Now we have to
okay.
pronounce that word.
So this
So
is
from Sullen Earth.
just
Yeah.
read it with
Okay,
conviction and
okay,
emotion.
okay.
Okay, read it.
This with desperation.
Okay.
From Sullen Earth sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such rough dreams. Oh my gosh.
That then
I scorn to change my state with kings. Oh,
I think the word.
he surrendered everything.
I think the choice of word with this last three lines is kind of confusing to me. I don't know what's the references with these words. I mean, Shakespeare in the sonnet use kings, heaven's gate,
Yeah.
like that.
Like it's more
what does it
happily.
mean with
I
that?
think it pertains to the divine being.
Oh,
Like that he
yeah.
surrenders everything. For thy sweet
yeah.
love remembered such well, no. He is focusing on the love of other people or the attention from other people for him. Like those attentions or those loves that he felt during his lifetime is that he considered it as wealth, right?
Wow.
He considered it as,
But how about
shall I say, shall I say, if there is the thing called
like heaven?
Yeah.
Heaven's gate.
Heaven's Gate.
So maybe the heaven's gate is kind of symbolizes peace.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, maybe that's the purpose or the message of that these lines in the part of the sonnet. Okay, but let's allow, as I said earlier, let's allow multiple perspectives, right? So let's allow Mikey to share his insights and will give a meaningful analysis of this last three lines of Shakespeare's sonnet.
Of course.
Hello, Mikey. Let's have
Hey.
here with Mikey. Can you share your insights with his last three lines of the
Okay, we're super
sonnet?
excited to hear it coming from you because I think you're the last but not the least.
And I think Mikey is really a good.
Great. Yeah.
Yes.
He's also a singer, right? I've heard of that.
Oh, yeah, Mikey is a singer. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're
He's
a
also a
singer, right?
director.
Mikey is a singer, right? But if you're a singer, you have really this
Yeah.
wonderful
It's really
lyricism.
connected. Yeah, it's really connected to the poem because poem is the first step for it to become a song.
Yeah, like I think poetry and making songs is really just the same, right?
Yeah.
Like
Similar.
song is
You
just
cannot
like
create music without lyrics.
song is just like a poetry, right?
Yeah. And then I think the lyrics, the connected.
Okay,
text
let's have
for it to become a
with
song.
Mikey. Can you share your analysis?
Without further ado, Mikey, let's give it the floor for Mikey.
From sullen earth sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. So in the first line, from sullen earth sings hymns at heaven's gate, it is when the speaker feels sad and down. And by thinking of someone is the only way to make him happy, that it's like he's singing at heaven's gate. And for the next line, for thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, it's just remembering someone's sweet love and makes him feel rich and full of joy. So in the last line, that then I scorn to change my state with kings, means that joy is so great that he wouldn't trade places with a king. So overall, the speaker says that when he remembers the love of a special someone, it lifts him out of sadness and brings him so much happiness that he feels richer than a king and wouldn't even exchange places with anyone, even a king.
Well, thank you so much for the thought-provoking analysis, Mikey. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Before we wrap up this podcast is about decoding William Shakespeare's Sonnet 29. I have a question. And I know you will be the one who can answer this question because you're my co-host,
Oh,
right?
hopefully that kind of question can relate my own personal experience.
Okay,
based
so
on the
I
Sonnet
think
29.
this question will just come up in my mind after I've heard many perspectives, and
Yeah.
especially from you, right?
Oh, you've learned from me?
Yeah, I've heard from you. So this is actually just my question. No, this is
It's
really
rhetorical.
I just really trying to invite perspectives, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I guess you can share your insights about it, and you can share your meaningful answer with these questions. Okay, so after what I've learned in the sonnet, this is my question. Okay,
So
so
that I
this
can
question
answer it.
is, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Praise yourself.
No choice. I don't have
Okay,
any
so
choice.
this is my question. Doesn't this poem ask if love's memory can truly conquer our worst feelings? We are moving on to another place. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So,
Give
hello
your
guys.
answer.
So, my answer for that kind of question is that's really very wonderful question because it's very relevant to my own experiences.
Yeah, it's really connected to the theme
because-
of the poem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, share it.
Even
Sorry
though
for
yeah,
interrupting.
I'm really desperate right now. It's because personally, I'm gonna admit to you that even though I really look funny or ridiculous, I keep on smiling, I keep on laughing. However, deep inside within me is very hopeless and desperate, very miserable. It's because I'm the only child, and then my family is broken. My mom and dad broke when I was still 7 years of age, and then that was the time that we're still in Toledo City in Cebu, here in Cebu. And then we transferred there in Mambaling, Cebu City, then going again to Pardo, and then translating our accommodation here in Talisay City, there in Barangay Dundun, the Face to be specific. To love would really help me remember how loving my family is.
Yes.
Even though my papa is the cause of
Your
miseries,
Right.
and then we're really totally distracted, familially distracted, because he committed such crime, which is it's against our law.
Yeah.
Which he sniffed prohibited drugs. Yeah, he sniffed prohibited drugs.
Really
Very very controversial. However, I'm just gonna admit it. But it causes me to become strong, to become loving to those people who are addicted also, who are not worthy to be loved, like those who are like full of sins, like they keep on doing mistakes to their lives. Yet I can really see the goodness still, even though how wicked they are. Yeah, death is not the solution, or death penalty is not the best solution. There should be a rehabilitation to those who suffer from that kind of addiction, from that kind of issue. So
really
yeah,
that kind of
igniting hope, shall I say? Yeah.
So somehow your experience
That strengthens my love for everyone, not just for my own family, but of course for everyone. Shall I say in vernacular, nadasig ko. Yeah, not just in my own experience, but of course to learning from different people.
Yeah, somehow with your experiences with your family about memory culture, our personal, somehow it's really just related of what Shakespeare's Sonnet 29 means, right?
Yeah.
It's about hope, despair, love, and by your sharing with your experiences, somehow it really connects the idea of what the Sonnet 29 means. Yes.
Even though I shall say it's not somehow, it's totally connected.
Yeah, it's really totally connected. Yeah, that's really the beauty of the poem, right? Even though we have different experiences, but by the idea
They have
of
different stories in life.
yeah, but by that idea of the poem alone, it really connects
Everyone.
to the experiences of the people. No, it's just really connect. Although the message of the poem is not religious and totally talking about that, talking specifically about that, but it's really kind of have a symbolic, right? That you just can really connect. Like even the poem talks about love, is you can relate it to your problems.
to your problems, like
especially with your family.
Yeah,
like,
towards hope
like
and
what you
towards
shared.
faith. It really, if there are different circumstances, we cannot deny that kind of fact that we do have different stories in life, different challenges that may come up suddenly, or not all of a sudden, but shall I say, at least it will come up. Yeah, some point of our lives.
Wow.
Okay, thank you for listening, everybody, for this wonderful, unforgettable episode, Decoding the Sonnet 29 by William Shakespeare, very notable English or British author and poet.
So, hope you guys learned about the Sonnet 29, one of the verse of William Shakespeare. And I hope you have learned something and get a thought-provoking lessons about the sonnet. So let's wrap up this episode of Blare
and Claire. So thank you for, I'm just going to acknowledge all of you listeners. However, this will not be possible without the support of without the response of our guests.
Especially our guests. Thank you so much for making your time to be with us in this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. And have a great day ahead.
Let's meet to other episodes.